Off. New tonight, we are now learning that about 40 Arizona National Guard soldiers were wounded in this week's drone attack on a U.S. base in Jordan. Most of the injuries are minor. According to a Guard spokeswoman, at least 3 soldiers are being airlifted to a base in Germany, one of them in critical condition. The attack killed 3 service members from Georgia.
A former National Guard commander tells 12 News journalist Bram Resnick he's concerned that the soldiers didn't have the resources to defend themselves. Bram?
And Mark, retired Major General Mick McGuire never saw a casualty count that high during his 8 years as Guard commander. McGuire says terrorists are learning to exploit weaknesses in American defenses.
Iranian-backed Shia militia groups are definitely emboldened.
Retired Major General Mick McGuire commanded the Arizona National Guard for 8 years. He's concerned that his former soldiers don't have the tools they need to respond to a new threat.
If we are going to commit as a country to deploying soldiers forward for any type of expeditionary mission, we need to give them all the resources they need to defend themselves.
3 soldiers from Georgia were killed and about 40 Arizona National Guard members injured in a drone strike this week at their forward base in Jordan.
I cannot think of any time in my tenure that we had that number of guardsmen injured in a single attack.
400 Arizona soldiers in the Bushmaster Battalion deployed to the Mideast just 4 months ago.
We've had upwards of 300 to 400 over there off and on for the last 20 plus years.
President Biden says he's made a decision on how to respond to the drone attack.
There will be consequences, and I'll just leave it at that.
Mick McGuire says American troops have already paid a heavy price.
And unfortunately, it took the death of 3 service members in Jordan this past week to get us all to think clearly about what happens when we deploy soldiers and airmen.
And President Biden's staff is briefing congressional committees on the planned response to the attacks. Arizona Senators Mark Kelly and Kyrsten Sinema couldn't be reached for comment on a potential U.S. response. Democratic Congressman Ruben Gallego declined to comment until he gets a scheduled briefing on Wednesday as a member of the House Armed Services Committee. Let's send it back to you.
Bram, thanks. State school superintendent and Republican leaders tonight are locking arms in defense of a controversial school funding program that's the first of its kind in the nation.
Universal Empowerment Scholarship accounts, also known as school vouchers, allow any family to spend public dollars on private and religious schools. Joe Dana was with GOP leaders earlier today and tells us why the price tag is going up.
It's a PR battle for Republican leaders as the ESA program is projected to cost at least $100 million more than its largest projections.
So ESAs are not a threat to the public schools.
The top schools chief and Republican lawmakers on the defensive.
We are going to protect parental choice.
ESAs are costing more than anticipated. A nonpartisan state budget office predicted over the summer the price tag would be $624 million this year. It's on pace to be $100 million more than that, raising alarm bells among public school advocates.
Our tax dollars, we only have so many of them.
Horn and Senate President Warren Peterson saying the Department of Ed can shuffle money around within the agency to pay the entire cost of ESAs.
In fact, we have a surplus.
That surplus is based on a prediction made months ago. The reality is the state is in a deep financial hole, the result of less revenue coming into state accounting offices. It all means Arizona faces a shortfall estimated near $1 billion.
And if you can choose and afford private school on your own, that is great. But public funds belong in public schools.
Teachers and parents worry public schools will face the brunt of cuts when lawmakers have to try to make the numbers fit. We do have a deficit. What's your message to lawmakers about district public school funding today?
Well, I support the plan of the Republican majority.
Does that include no cuts in any way to district public schools and charters?
That's my anticipation, yeah.
Joe Dana, 12 News.